Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law. I said Meldon Law. I knew a girl named Carol Melton. In fact, I was in love with her in high school. It didn't go well for me. Went well for her, not for me. Meldon Law, Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll have Coach Spurrier on a little bit later in the show. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe on Thursday. Brandon Spikes is going to join us. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Next Monday, Coach Spurrier will not be here. We'll tell you why in a little bit. But also, we'll have a great guest for you. I think we'll get, well, anyway, I'll wait and see who we're going to get before I'll announce it. You know, sometimes you ask for people like Laura Rutledge, who we had on last week, but her problem was she was sick, and then she was on vacation, and then it was the other way around. She probably got sick on vacation. Anyway, I don't want to pry into her personal life, but that happens a lot. Anyway, so let's get to our Process Service of Gainesville starting five. Process Service of Gainesville, the great Scott Hart. We appreciate him. And this is going to be a unique one, and I think I'm going to get through this okay, but this is only the second time this has happened in the history. And what did we decide, like 357 or 357? 357. Second time it's happened where I forgot my notebook at home. Luckily, I have the greatest wife in the world. I think you guys all know that. And she took a picture of my notebook, which had all the stuff on it, and emailed it to me, and I should be fine. Now, there may be glitches here, but we'll try to do the best we can. All right, let's get to our Process Service starting five with number one. And look, you guys, I know most of you listen to this, and I know all of you are going to listen to this probably after the Gator baseball game today. All I can talk about is the game Saturday night. Like many of you, I did not stay up for the whole game. And it wasn't that I didn't have a great deal of interest. I think if it had been the last game of the year, I probably would have gutted it out. But by that point, and I think a lot of you had done stuff all day and looking forward to this 7 o'clock game. Many of you had watched the U.S. Open. Many of you had a couple of beers during the U.S. Open or whatever, and by the time they said they were started at 10:15, you go, well, I'll give it a while, and they get down 2-0, and it was just the way they get down 2-0 was bad. And anyway, I think a lot of you went to bed. But the bottom line is, they lose on what could have been a homer. I think the guy caught it like this. I don't think that's a great catch. First of all, I think when you put your arm over the stands and catch it, it's still a good catch, but it's not a glamorous catch. But it was obviously when he hit it, I thought it was out after watching it, even already knowing it wasn't out. My wife thought it was out. I can tell you that. For Florida to have struck out 16 times, though, goes back to what their problem was earlier in the year, and maybe the delay, maybe all the time off between games. It didn't seem to affect them after the SEC tournament, but again, they played on Sunday, and then they turn around and play on Saturday, and that is kind of a lot of time off. But there's no excuses. You lose a game, you lose a game. The late start, I've heard a lot of people talk about that, about how can they dare let this happen. I mean, the players want to play. They don't want to come back the next day and play. They want to play, and the ESPN wants them to play. There's two people that want them to play, or two factions that want them to play. The fans who were there, and that place was still packed in the middle of the night, want them to play. You know who doesn't want them to play? You at home who are yelling at the clouds. There was no problem with them playing the game when they did. I've been in the postseason for later games than that, much later games than that. But it was too late for me. Now, if I was covering the game like in the old days, it would have been okay. I would have said, hey, you know what? I guess I'll stick around for this. Sorry, I have to keep looking at my phone because I have to keep looking up things on my phone. Number two on our Process Service of Gainesville starting five. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think Florida's playing with house money. Anything they do is going to be great. You think that until the game starts. And even though I wanted to go to bed, I couldn't because I wanted to. I said, I'm going to stay up until they fall behind. How about that? And so I gutted myself through it to stay up. And again, I know it's easy for you youngsters out there to go, oh, man, what are you talking about? I stayed up, and then I watched another game after that. In my day, we did those kind of things. But no, we're too old, too many drugs in us because we have to sleep. So that's part of the factor as well. And I mean Ambien and is it Selexil? Anyway, one of the other things I'm taking from the issues I'm dealing with. But once you get into the games, you change your attitude. Once the game starts, you change your attitude, and you're like, oh man, I think we can win it all. It's going to be hard for again. We don't know what's going to happen today. It's going to happen very soon. I'll go home and watch it. I did want to point out, not by name or by identification of any kind, the two idiots, and I mean idiots, I mean like they're dumb for Texas A&M fans. They're dumb for this league. And those fans who went down and started harassing Sully about the tragic death of two young boys, that he had nothing to do with, obviously, and they just happened to be his current wife's. And you saw Mindy on here earlier this year talking about that and everything. It hits home, and it's really stupid. And I hope if they let those people back into the stadium again, every usher should be fired. I'm sorry, man. That's just not allowed. There is a line that used to not get crossed that is getting crossed more and more, and I see it in other things. I'm not going to get into the details. I'm not going to get political about it, but we're a different world now, certainly an angrier world than we've ever been. But that is just way over the line. That's not even near the line. You can't even see the line from where they were. And it may have cost Florida a little bit. And now I hate to say that, and again, I'm not making excuses, but they should have challenged the play and when all this was going on. And, of course, they didn't challenge it. Maybe it would have made a difference. Maybe it wouldn't have. Look, Texas A&M won the game fair and square. Their fans need to get a life, and apparently those two fans did not have it. And I'm not lumping all the Aggie fans into that. I've run into nothing but great Aggie fans in my life. Those two, though, they may have even been wearing some other team's jerseys just for the hell of it. All right. I don't want to get into it anymore. That's where I'm going to leave it. Let's go to number 3 on our process, Service of Gainesville starting 5, and that was the U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau winning. I'm really struggling with DeChambeau, okay? He was everything in that tournament that I like about golf. A swing like nobody else has. This attention to detail and attention to science and angles and everything that – he's unique in that way. I can't get over the live. I can't get it, especially when he wears that live uniform. It just is. It aggravates me. That's a big problem. And the other problem was he came out. Remember when he came out before and he won? He won at. God, I'm trying to think. Was it Wingfoot? I think he won at Wingfoot at U.S. Open. So he's won 2 U.S. Opens, and he was kind of a jerk. And he was also roided up. I mean, he was giant. He was this massive human being, and I think there was a lot of golf purists that maybe have taken it too far and said, "Oh, that's not what golf is. You're supposed to have technique." And no, that's not it. I mean, I get wanting to be big and strong, and now he looks like a normal human being, except for that live hat and that live shirt. It's just too much for me. Anyway, I enjoyed the golf. It's not a fair course. I played. This is a funny story. I used to play that course all at Pinehurst number 2 on WGT. Is that what World Golf Tournament? You could get an app online. So I would play it on my phone. I'd be sitting there playing it, and every time after about the 7th hole, I go, I'm not playing this course anymore. It's ridiculous. I'd rather go play Pebble Beach where the greens are normal. But it's going to keep going there. It's going to be there multiple times. Hey, look, the Hall of Fame is there now. You don't think they're going to keep playing there? And they love it that way. And look, I love the train wrecks. I do like that. I like it when guys make sevens on holes. But it just got to a point where good shots were not being rewarded, and not my favorite tournament. It's usually my favorite tournament. I still did enjoy it, though. And I do, McIlroy missing those 2 putts just drove me nuts. 3 inside, 4 feet in the last 5 holes that he missed. So that is just not good. That's never good for anybody. So obviously that was a factor in the whole day. And Billy Horschel really played good on Friday. I got to tell you about the text I sent him. And it seems so stupid now, but there may have been some Bud Lights involved in it. But he shot 67 on Friday. So I sent him a text and said, so you're moving on up to the leaderboard, to that deluxe apartment in the sky. And he just texted me back and said, thanks. He appreciates me reaching out to him, but that was just stupid. My wife even thought it was stupid. But anyway, he struggled in the last 2 days. That course was set up to the point where it got brown and it got fast, so give DeChambeau credit for winning against that field on that course. Nothing you can do but give him credit. I mean, he was the best golfer, and it wasn't fair for me, but it was fair for everybody. It was the same deal. Everybody had to do the same thing. Let's get to number 4 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, and that is the Olympic qualifiers, which for those of you who don't know what's going on there, it was last night. There was some of them, but there's still a lot more to go. And that is, it's going to be going on all week, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the Swamp games of the week, because the Olympics are going to be obviously a big part of it during the summer, but they're also a part of it right now. I mean, there's going to be Olympic swimming trials going on forever, it feels like. But it was fun to watch. I'm still trying to figure out what I should do with Katie Ledecky. Is she a Gator or not? She's wearing a Gator cap. She's a volunteer coach at Florida. She's training at Florida. But she's a Stanford alumni. And she's not, I don't know if she's getting a master. Maybe she gets a master's here. We'll call her Gator. I don't know. I think we should call her Gator because she's probably going to win a lot of gold medals. And it's fun to watch, but at the same time, it's kind of hard for a lot of us that don't follow it, because we're like, who is that again? Most of the people we don't know, but I did pay a lot of attention to it. Finally, number 5 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5. I wanted to give you these, and these are the lines by Circa. They put it out, and they put it on Twitter, and it caught my attention. It caught a lot of people's attentions. I see a lot of people have retweeted it or retweeted it, either one. But here's the thing. There's a potential for Florida to be double-digit underdogs in at least 4 games. Tennessee right now, of course, Tennessee at home, they're at home, is a 9-point favorite, and that could easily go up to 10. Georgia, 19-point favorite over Florida. Texas, 18-point favorite in Austin over Florida. And FSU, an 11-point favorite over Florida. I will tell you, those last 3 games are not the ones Florida needs to win. I would love it if they did, but those aren't the ones they need to win. There are other games they need to win, like Miami, where Florida is actually a 3-point underdog at home. That makes me sick to my stomach. Now, again, odds are set so you will want to gamble. Right now, I want to go bet a lot of money on Florida against Miami and Florida against Georgia in the 19. I love getting 19 points. Florida is a favorite over UCF by 6. Those are the only ones listed. These are 7 games. Florida's an underdog in 6 of them. But that's what happens, and that's where it is right now. That's the perception. The landscape has got to change. Florida's got to change that landscape. And the only way you change it is by winning games. You better win that first one, and you better win the second one. You better win a lot of them. I'm just saying. I think you've got to. I've said this a million times. I'm going to keep saying it. 5-1 minimum. Hopefully 6-0 in those first games, and that will create a lot of momentum for this program. But if you go 3-3 in those first 6 games, you are definitely then on the hot seat. No matter what you're doing with recruiting, and we talked about that, how good they've been doing, and got a huge commitment over the weekend for a guy in 2 years from now class, and people are committing to Florida even though they're hearing from other coaches. And believe me, coaches use it. They negative recruit all the time. Billy Napier is going to be gone. Well, here's a story that Pat Dooley wrote that, I never write that a coach should be gone until I know he's going to be gone. And I still believe in Billy Napier. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I do know this. We have to get a break. We'll do that. We'll come back with the HBC. Coach Spurrier will join us. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. All that coming up and more here on, I almost said the tailgate again. I've had a problem doing that. I think it's because we haven't done the tailgate in a while. Here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI. You know where I had a brain fart here, Zach? I'll tell you. I was trying to remember whether we did the play of the week or not. So we'll do it in the next segment. It's on. Another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And, of course, Meldon Law, also the sponsor of Mondays with Meldon and Coach Spurrier. And we appreciate him being on the show again today. And obviously we'll talk a lot of golf today because you and I both watch pretty much every swing, The
U.S. Open, I guess, is sort of like the Super Bowl of golf.
It is.
Or the national championship game in college football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And that was really interesting yesterday. Of course, obviously, either player could have won, and one shot difference on the last hole made DeChambeau the winner instead of Rory McIlroy. So,
you know, because you play a lot of golf, the hardest shot you can have to hit is a long bunker shot.
Long bunker shot.
Because you don't hit them. You hit them maybe like I think it was Brandel Chambly was saying, "Hey, look, you walk by that trap, you don't even think about having to be in.
Practice that shot." Yeah, it was interesting. DeChambeau said he could do it 4 out of 100, which I guess is the same as 1 out of 25. But anyway, they said once he was in there, his caddy looked at it and he said, "You've got this up and down before. Let's go do it again." Something like that. He said, "Well, let's go."
Yeah.
And don't think about it too long. Just visualize what you're trying to do.
He didn't waste time in there,
He hit it perfectly. Hit it up there about 3.5 feet or whatever. And then, of course, McElroy missed a putt. When he hit it, I thought he had made it because I thought it was just sort of left center.
Yeah.
But it got there and it took a mean
sharp
break.
right.
Yeah, it took a mean break. It would have been neat to watch him go into sudden death. But
but I was
that's the way
rooting
it
for
happened.
Rory. I wanted him to win. And but I mean, he missed 2 4-foot putts in the last 3 holes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He missed 2.
And that's,
I
mean, that's, you got to call
that's
it what it
the game.
is, you know?
That's the game. But he made a whole bunch of putts yesterday.
I know.
Before that, but you're right. Those guys that missed some of those. In fact, I heard the guy on the radio say that a 3-footer, the pros make that 99-point-something%.
Yeah.
They only miss about 1 out of 100. So, to miss 2 out of 3 holes, that is unusual.
Well, I think they said that his 3-foot makes he had gone 356 for 356 before that last putt.
Is that right?
Because it was only 3 feet. I mean, I thought once he knocked it close, I go, okay, we're going to a playoff, you know. But anyway, it was. I don't know how you felt about the course itself. I mean, Pinehurst number 2. You've played it, but I'm sure it wasn't as severe when you played it.
No, obviously it's not a fair golf course, but it wasn't fair for all of them.
Yeah,
that's the way you have to look at it. And so much mental part of trying to hit the ball on a certain part of the green and just settle for a 30, 40-foot 2-putt. And if you happen to make one every now and then, that's good. But, what's fair for one's fair for all, but it wasn't set up as a real fair test of golf, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it was DeChambeau and Rory made probably the ratings end up being good. I haven't seen them yet, but we want to see U.S. Opens with train wrecks. We always like that, but it was just almost got to be too much. Where a guy'd hit a ball and it'd be 5. It was like that movie Tin Cup. You hit a ball and it's 2 feet from the hole, and next thing you know, it's down the fairway somewhere. It got to be too much after a while.
Oh, that one par 5 hole. They both hit the ball and went rolling up toward the hole, and then took a mean left, ended up in a bunker about 30 yards away. That was severe, but I guess again, what's fair for one's fair for all of them. I don't know.
And I totally agree with you on that part of it. Is that everybody played the same course?
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember the one year that it was not at. I don't think it was at Pinehurst. I think it was at Shinnecock when they were watering the green between players, and DeMarco was complaining about it because they started watering the green after he walked off the green. Yeah. He's like, well, hey, you could have done that for me too, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But for the most part, it is, and it's a fairest game, and you see guys call penalties on themselves. We saw the amateur do that, call a penalty on himself that nobody else would have seen, but that's the way the sport is. All right, let's talk a little Gator baseball
today. Yeah, 2:00 game pretty soon here, so we gotta come out a winner today to stay in Omaha, and we can still make a good run, and actually we can still win this thing. So that's the attitude we got to take into today.
I said all along, it's house money. Whatever they do is going to be great. They've had for them to do what they did during the season and come back and what they were able to do in the postseason, great year. And again, you lose one game by 1 foot, right? That happens. I mean, you know how it is. Like, there are times when you're so good that it doesn't matter but there are other times when you need a break here and there.
Yeah, every time I watch one of those games, I call my buddy up in Johnson City, Tommy Hager, and I said, we won 2 state championships, junior and senior year. We won every one-run game. I said, we beat Memphis Christian Brothers by 1. We beat Kingsport 5-4, beat them guys 7-6. I mean, it's just, that's how you win. You win just all your close games, and then you can be the champ. And that's what happened for us, and whoever wins it will probably look back and sort of say the same thing.
Yeah, and also during the World Series, the games have been unbelievable. Now, again, a lot of you are listening to this on Tuesday, and I don't know what's going to happen today and tonight. But the first 3 games are walk-offs, and the next game's a 3-2, ball against the wall that could have won the game for Florida. I'm sure you were impressed with Christian Moore, what he was able to do. The second hitting for the cycle in the history of the College World Series. You know somebody that's hit for the cycle before.
Exactly, Pat. So I want to give my brother Graham Spurrier. He played baseball at East Tennessee State College, and one day he hit for the cycle, and they played. The baseball stadium is out at Mountain Home. It's a VA association. They had a nice baseball field, but they did not have a fence out there. So if you hit a line shot between the outfielders, you got a chance to leg it out. And Brother Graham was a little bit like me. He wasn't real fast, but they waved him around, and they got a picture of him going across home plate, and the tag was just a little late. So he hit for the cycle, though, which is very, very unusual.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you don't hear about it very often in any sport. I mean, in any level.
So for people that don't know, he hit a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. That's what the cycle is. You don't.
Well, when Christian Moore hit
Yeah.
that homer to center field, and that gave him the cycle, and then they told him afterwards in the dugout, and he was like,
Really?
Really?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That
yeah,
is pretty cool.
I didn't even think about it. In fact, I hate to do this, but we're going to have our I don't hate to do our Campus USA play of the weekend because I always love doing that. But it's not going to be a Florida play because it's going to be a Tennessee play. But this was the coolest play I saw all week. This guy is going to catch this ball, and he is going to get destroyed by the center field fence. That's Ensley, I think, right? Yeah, and he actually leaves his eye black on the fence because he hits it so hard. So that was the coolest play I saw this weekend, and hopefully on next week we can give you some Gator stuff.
That is neat to have padding on the fences now.
I know.
Yeah, back in our day, they weren't all that kind to those outfielders, it seems like. But it's well padded now, almost everywhere.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like when Florida was playing at Clemson last week, they don't have a warning track. They have a hill that goes up. And I'm like, everybody should be more uniform. That's what Major League Baseball does well and what the NFL does well. All the fields are pretty much the same. There are little nuances, but they aren't as drastic as like Florida used to have. Florida had the hill that went way up, back in the old days at McKeithen Stadium. But I wanted to ask you about this too, Steve. Bill Connolly on ESPN wrote about the 30 most influential teams of all time. And one of them was your team.
Really?
And I was like, I didn't agree with the year he picked. His year was 93, okay? I would have said more the 95 team. Or even the 94 team, because the 93 team was this close to losing to Kentucky. They were
93 team
almost lost to Georgia. You had to get
We
field
had
goals.
some close ones.
Yeah,
Had a lot of close ones.
so I thought the 94 team kind of transformed college football more. I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, they were all pretty similar. The four-peat, 93, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And 93 won a bunch of close games. It really did. But what was interesting, I had a trivia question here the other night in the restaurant. We beat Kentucky in 93, the Doring catch, 24-20. So my trivia question, how many points did we score against Kentucky the next year when they came to the Swamp?
70, I believe.
73.
73. Sorry.
So Kentucky, I'd say, went downhill, and we maybe got better from one year to the next.
But that was an interesting list, and it had a Florida urban team too. I think it was 08 was in there, or maybe
his 08 team was a lot better than 06.
Yeah,
their 06 won a bunch of close ones also.
They did too. Yeah. But I always loved that 96 team is still going to be the one that to me changed college football because you guys beat Auburn, Georgia, and I'm blanking. Who'd have been the other team?
Tennessee in conference.
No, but in those 3 games in a row, Auburn, LSU, and Georgia, you beat them, and it was the combined score was like 2 million to 3 or something. It was crazy what you were able to do.
Yeah, those teams could score. There's no question about that. We had good defense. Sometimes our defense gets overlooked at how good they were.
Well, don't you think like 0, 1, and 2? I'm sorry, 90, 91, and 92 were a combination, defense, offense, right?
90 and 91, we had a lot of top defensive players. 92, was our least talented team of the 12, really.
They scrambled away.
We played a lot of young guys, and Shane was in his third year with a bunch of new offensive linemen.
Right.
So that team achieved as much per talent as any of them, the 92 team, to get to the championship game and almost upset the number one team in the nation.
I know.
Alabama, they had about 4 or 5 first-team All-Americans on defense, and maybe 1 or 2 offensive linemen that were All-Americans. But
but where did you come up with that little shovel pass? Yeah.
I don't know. We were out there messing around one day, and I said, Shane, drop back and just give me a little shovel pass. That way you don't have to hand it off.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty good in practice. So, yeah, we ran it a bunch that time. Why didn't we run it more often? I
don't think you ever ran it again.
I don't know. Maybe once or twice, but not much after that. Forgot about it.
There's a great story about, Furman Bisher from the old days, and he, every time they would announce on the press box, they would go, Matthews passed to Rhett 7 yards. And he would go, it's not a pass. It's not a pass. And we're like, it is a pass.
It's forward.
It's forward. Yeah. I mean, because he would throw it underhand and he would freak out. But, it was, that was, and I think that 93 team was a lot of fun to watch. So there's no doubt about that. With all because you said close games, but you guys usually won them in 93,
Yeah, South Carolina has 17-0 in the second quarter.
That's right.
We came back on that one.
Golly, that game. That was the Jack Jackson. You threw the bubble screen in the end zone.
Yeah. He got hit on the goal line and then went about 85 yards.
It looks like a brilliant play then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Jack was a heck of a player. Had a lot of good players. But our defense was good also, and good team, good attitude. In fact, I always like to clump all of them together, Pat, because they all had such good attitudes.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you don't win them all. Some teams, the other team has better breaks than you do in that game. Sometimes you have better breaks. But all of our teams competed for the SEC championship. Tennessee won a couple of those 12 years.
Yeah.
And LSU won one. Other than that, it was us and Alabama winning all of them back in those days.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Coach, you got anything else you want to talk about? I knew we were talking about some of these coaches that have got.
Yeah, we were talking about. I thought Dan Hurley was very smart to say at UConn. That's the smartest decision. Money's not. He's going to have more money than he can ever spend the rest of his life, and leave his kids and grandkids more.
He doesn't have to deal with.
And now he's coaching at a place he loves, UConn, and they got it going. They've got a NIL group, I'm sure, like everybody else. So I think the NCAA may start putting a limit on how much you can give teams, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And now we're all even again. Okay, all right, we got. Somebody used the term $20 million a year, which heck, every school gets $80 million TV money. So now they get $60.
Yeah,
and spend $20 on your team.
And if Georgia State and Middle Tennessee can't keep up, sorry.
Yeah, they're in another level.
We'll put you in a different. You're already in a different.
They know that, and so the Power 5 schools, if they all had the same amount, it would put a little more common sense into college football.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Now, Coach will not be here next Monday. He's busy being an actor next Monday.
Yeah, they do that Nissan Heisman, and I was fortunate enough they invited me to come this year and do another commercial. So,
have you seen the script yet, or?
No, they give it to you once you get out there. But it's going to be in Austin, Texas, not out at the Heisman House. Maybe they got a new Heisman House in Austin. But anyway, they have about 12, 14 Heisman guys come out and film those commercials.
Yeah, I think Tebow and Caleb Douglas are going to be there, so that'll be cool to see those guys. And
some of the older guys I think are coming also. Billy Sims and
Billy Sims loves that. Archie Griffin loves it.
I think Earl Campbell might be there. Earl's the Texas guy also. And so forth.
I was at the game. I was covering the game. Where the Dolphins ripped all his clothes off, and he still kept running.
Oh, yeah.
He was just running in pads.
Yep.
Back when you used to have tearaways, I was lucky enough to cover a game like that. All right, Coach, we'll let you go, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right.
Then.
Go Gator baseball team here, playing about an hour
today.
or so. So good luck.
And then we'll see what happens going forward with. We just saw Kelly Ray Finley in here.
Women's basketball.
Podcast. Yeah, so we're. she's excited about what's going forward. So I think everything's good. We can get football straightened out. Everything's going the right direction.
I tell you, I found myself watching the Indiana Fever beat the Chicago Sky yesterday.
That was a big deal, yeah.
Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese. They've got a little rivalry, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But
they hate each other, I think.
Yeah, the referees are not kind to Angel Reese, so she needs to. They call fouls on her pretty quickly now, but Caitlin handles herself very well, and that was a big win for the Indiana
It was,
Fever,
yeah.
because they got clobbered first or second game of the season.
Yeah, they've been struggling.
And now they've gotten
figuring
better.
it out.
They've gotten better as the season
You got to
goes.
figure out how to play around a player like her. I mean, I'm sure they did that first year team where she was.
She's now more of just a good player. It's not all about her, and she moves it around. She only scored 23, but it was still high man, high woman, I guess you call it, on her team. But, she's just an integral part of the team. And it really it was a well-played game, really, by both teams. So it was fun to watch that one also.
When you see it, when you watching a women's basketball game, and do they say man-to-man defense or do they person-to-person defense?
Yeah, I find myself saying man-to-man. Who's got this man? Wait a minute, it's not a man out there. Who's got this? Maybe they ought to use the word dude.
Well, the problem is, not the problem, but most of these women practice against men all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Because they want to get the feel the physicality of it. Yeah. So, all right, Coach, we'll let you go, and we'll be back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe here on another Dooley Noted podcast.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Always great to have Coach Spurrier on. And Robbie, I also want to talk to you about Father's Day and how your Father's Day was, and I would hope it was a great one.
Oh, it was, but it was a real good one. Jill really took care of me. And she had had an unbelievable dinner, had a charcuterie board for the U.S. Open.
Ooh.
It was great.
I like that.
I got the royal treatment. I don't think I deserved it, but it was great.
No, you probably didn't. But, yeah.
She made ribs in the crock pot for dinner, and it was off the charts.
Really? Because my wife made pot roast in the crock pot. So
yeah,
it was good, too. It was really good, actually.
It was a great day, man.
Yeah, it was really fun. All right, Robbie, you ready to play Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks?
Yes, or maybe.
If you said yes, nowhere, maybe.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. Of course, we know Big Mills Cheesesteak. If you go in there and tell them that you like street dining done the right way and you want to get free fries with your order, just tell them you listen to the podcast, and they will do that for you. Okay, Robbie, number one. Rory McIlroy lost the U.S. Open more than Bryson DeChambeau won it.
Yes, he did, Pat, and I'll give that an emphatic yes. I mean, to miss those 2 short putts in 2 of the last 3 holes, when you had a chance to put the thing away, he blew it. And DeChambeau did not really play that great yesterday. He was all over the course. He finished
he shot one over, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was 1 over. I mean, he did make a clutch shot out of the bunker in his putt to win it, but Rory lost that major. There's no question about it. I'm sure he's going to have a hard time living with that for a while.
I totally agree, and I agree that he lost it, and I was disappointed because I wanted him to win. All right, we talked about this earlier today, Robbie. Number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, and that is some of the spreads that have come out over the last. They're coming out sporadically. Yeah. This was somebody that is it's a betting site, so you can bet this. Would you take this? Florida get 19 against Georgia.
Absolutely, yes, I would take that. I mean,
I would too.
Been times in the last couple of years, the Florida's been real competitive against Georgia, and I think Florida's really improved its roster, and I think they're going to compete in that game, and that game's going to go down to the wire. That's the way I feel about it. And 19 points, give me that all day long.
Yeah, always take 19 points unless it's a really crap team, and we know better than that.
And Florida's not a crap team, and that's a huge rivalry where anything can happen. So,
no, and they've also, Florida is potentially going to be a double-digit underdog in like 4 or 5 games this year. But if they go beat Miami, you know what? They won't be. That is the key game. It's the number 1 game.
It is the key game, Pat. The more you think about it, the bigger it is. No
Absolutely.
question.
And that is the interesting part of it. The closer we get to it, the bigger that game's going to get. Like sometimes, like the last time they played down there in Orlando, it was just like a week 0 game kind of feel. It didn't feel like it was like the biggest game ever.
There really wasn't a big build up to that game, Pat. But this one, people have been talking about it for a while now, and it's going to get more intense as we get closer to it. And it's a huge game for Miami, but I think a much bigger game for Florida.
I agree 100%. All right, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. Robbie Andrew, you stayed up to watch the entire baseball game Saturday night.
No, I couldn't do it. I was drinking beer and watching the U.S. Open, and then that rain delay. And when they said 11 something, I tried to do it, and I just couldn't do it. I made it through the first couple of innings, and when they went down 2-0, I went ahead and just surrendered and went to sleep.
You and I surrendered about the same time. The white flag came out. The old men, born one day apart.
Yeah.
The subject of Mike Dame's new article.
That was way past my bedtime, Pat.
Yes, it was. Me too. And I said, and finally at like 4:30, I just woke up for some reason, and I go, "Oh, let me look and see what happened." Oh man.
Yeah. When I saw what happened, I was thinking, going to sleep was a good option there.
Yeah, I agree. Karen stayed up and watched the whole game. And
Sucker.
She said, I know. She said, if they had won, or if Cagliano hit a homer there or whatever, I'd have run in and woken you up. And I go, good. I would have enjoyed that. I was hoping for it, but
you slept right through.
Yep, slipped right through a loss. All right, Robbie. Great talking to you as always. We'll talk to you again next Monday. Okay.
Okay. We'll see you soon. See you, Pat.
Right. Okay. Well, let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Thanks to Robbie for coming on. We appreciate him as always, and Coach Spurrier, of course. But let's get to Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener of this show, you know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm, check out the reviews, and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920, 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. We appreciate them so much. Let's start off with number 1, which is the NBA, and of course, it's still going on. Could be over by, is it tonight? Is that the last?
Yeah,
tonight at 8. Could be over by tonight. So it'd be over by the time you hear it. But the big story of the weekend to me was Charles Barkley saying, after next year I'm done. If TNT loses it, I'm out. And he's going to walk away. And again, he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. I think it's good for a guy to stand up for something like that. If they can't get it, they can't get it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with what they decide to do there. But I'll miss Charles. But I got to be honest, I don't watch a lot of pregame. I don't watch a lot of halftime. I usually, when I hear that Charles Barkley said something, it's because I see it on, either Twitter or Facebook or something like that, and somebody's posted it. It's never because I watch it. I don't watch any pregame shows. I want to watch games. And if there's not a game on, rather than watch a pregame show, I'd rather watch a sitcom or a movie or something, which is what I did the other night. Anyway, Charles Barkley, I will tell you my one chance meeting with Charles Barkley, and that was at the Fiesta Bowl when Florida got destroyed by Nebraska. We got there to the game, and as I walk in, there's Charles Barkley standing right there. And he's talking to somebody that I knew, so I could go up and go, "Hey, how you doing?" And he goes, "Yeah, hey, have you met Charles Barkley?" Yeah, no, I've never met you, yeah. And I told him, I said, "I saw you destroy Dwayne Shinsis in the O-Dome one night." He's like, "Yeah, I remember that." But, the thing is, I walked away from that going, I can't believe how short he is. I mean, he's like 6'4", and he played a 6'9" position is what he played. He played power forward, but he was so big and he was so agile. Great player. Never won a championship, unfortunately for him. I feel bad for that. I like Charles Barkley. I think he's great. I think he's great talking on that show or anywhere else, whether it's on Bill Maher or any of those other shows. All right, number 2 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. The NHL still going on. Edmonton actually won a game, and not only that, they won it in convincing fashion. Now, I wonder if you win a game, was it 8-2 the final? 8-1. Or 8-1, yeah. So if you win a game like that big, do you say, God, we should have saved some goals? Or do you say, hey, we're good enough to win this? And well, I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to be interesting to see how all that goes with Edmonton. And now we'll get to the when they play again, what time they play and what channel it's on our Swamp Games of the Week. Number 3 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but I kind of pay attention to it, but not really. But a lot of us became Ranger fans, not because they won the World Series, but because Wyatt Langford went there. And we love our Wyatt Langford. We love seeing all the GIFs of him this week hitting monstrous homers in Omaha. But the Rangers just lost 3 straight to the Mariners, and now they're 33-38, 8.5 games behind Seattle, coming off a World Series. Langford hitting .240 with 1 homer, and it was an inside the park homer. Maybe they have done him wrong in a way, and that they felt like he was a guy ready-made. And I think because he's a little older, not old, but a little older, maybe they wanted to go ahead and give him a shot right away. But it hasn't worked out great for him and them, but hopefully it does. But anyway, I just thought it's worth mentioning because we don't talk a lot of Major League Baseball until we get to this is the summer now. It's getting ready to be the summer. If you don't know it, go outside. That's all you need to do to find out that it's the summer because it is hot. It is really hot. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And again, I apologize for reading out of my phone, those of you watching this on YouTube, because I left my notebook at home. We went through that. All right, let's get to our Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Weekend. I was hoping it would be a baseball player, and I could make it a couple of guys, but I'm not. I'm going with Kieran Smith. He had the best time he's ever had by 5 seconds in the 200 freestyle. Now, the finals are tonight, so we'll all be watching that Monday night. If you're watching this on Tuesday, you already know what he did, but Kieran Smith is an Olympic gold medal hopeful, and appreciate him and all the Gator swimmers, all the Gator athletes that are going to be in the Olympics. It's really hard to keep track of all of it, but I'm keeping track of Kieran Smith. That's all I can. Hey, look, with a name like Kieran, it's got to be good. I mean, he's clearly Irish, right? So you got to love that. All right, let's get to that is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the Weekend. Let's get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Got to have it in by Tuesday at 8. And so you can guess what it is. Does Florida end it I'm talking about the Panthers, not the Gators. Do the Panthers end it Tuesday night? Very simple. A yes or a no will suffice. And I think we're about due to pull another winner, maybe coming up, maybe next Thursday. I think next Thursday would be good because we've got to make sure we're on track with some of these shows, okay? So we'll do that. Okay, let us wrap it up with our Swamp games of the weekend. And this is the funny thing. I don't think my wife sent me the bottom of this sheet. Wait a minute. Here it is. Okay, Swamp games of the weekend. Here they are. She's the best. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. The Olympic trials are going to be on all the way through Saturday at 8 o'clock every night on NBC. So if you're into the Olympics, swimming, and some people are, Pat Forty, I know his daughter was a great swimmer and swam in the Olympics. I'm into it. I watched it last night. I watched it Saturday as well. I'll watch it tonight as well. If you're into the Olympics, that is. But anyway, the point is, it's all the way through Saturday at 8 o'clock if you want to see it. Obviously tonight, Monday night, Dallas at Boston, 8:30 on ABC. If Boston does not end it, they play again Thursday at Dallas, 8:30 on ABC. Again, the get-in price for that Thursday game is a little bit higher than it is for the Monday game. I guess people are thinking, well, we may lose Monday. Then I want these tickets. I don't know. So when you buy a ticket for $1,400 and they don't play the game, do you get your money back?
I've honestly never known that.
I don't. That's a good question. Anyway, it's $1,400. So if you're investing that kind of money on a basketball game, you got a problem anyway. All right, Tuesday, Edmonton, Florida. Of course, in the NHL, 8 o'clock on ABC if you're looking for that game. And then, of course, the baseball, we really can't tell you. We know that games are being played today, tomorrow, and going forward on that. We also have some Major League Baseball, though. Tuesday, Tuesday, it is Baltimore at the Yankees. That'll be a good game, 7:05 on TBS. And again, it'll be as good a game as can be played in the regular season in June. Because really, who wins doesn't matter. You lose 3 in a row, it matters. You lose a game, it doesn't matter. That's why it's hard for me to get into Major League Baseball this time of year. But we also have a game on Thursday, San Francisco at St. Louis, 7:15. That is on Fox. So a lot of stuff going on this week. And again, college baseball, you know they're going to be playing. You just don't know who's going to be playing. So it's kind of hard to talk about. But I did anyway. All right, that is going to do it for our podcast today. Thank you to Coach Spurrier. Thank you to Robbie Andrew. Always thank you to Zach Rothrock, who does a great job producing this.
You do get refunds for games that don't happen, by the way.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you do. The Ticketmaster or whoever you buy it from, they'll keep the processing fee.
They still make money, though. Yeah, okay. Zach always coming through with the info. All right, that's going to do it for our show until Thursday. We have Brandon Spikes on. Look forward to that. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.